Welcome to Symposium. Momentum is unchallenging. The city was sculpted by its rulers. Now, it is being reimagined by visionaries in a world of relentless chatter. Where do the creators of tomorrow go? To listen. Beyond the boardroom, beyond the network, a return to the foundation. A merging of affluence and insight. This is not a club for the affluent. It is a sanctuary for the wise. Welcome to the discourse. Welcome to Symposium. Momentum is unchallenging. The city was sculpted by its rulers. Now, it is being reimagined by visionaries in a world of relentless chatter. Where do the creators of tomorrow go? To listen. Beyond the boardroom, beyond the network, a return to the foundation. A merging of affluence and insight. This is not a club for the affluent. It is a sanctuary for the wise. Welcome to the discourse. Welcome to Symposium. Momentum is unchallenging. The city was sculpted by its rulers. Now, it is being reimagined by visionaries in a world of relentless chatter.
Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly settle down. Andariki Namaskaram, Hyderabad. I see a great deal of energy in the room today. And it is not only because of the enlightened people that we have here, it is because of the Gen X, the millennials, and the Gen Z sitting here. So with this energy, I, Wing Commander Asha Vashisht, CEO of Symposium, on behalf of Mr. Girish Malpani, our founder chairman of Symposium, Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, Founder Trustee Symposium, all our trustees and advisors, extend a very warm welcome to all of you. It's indeed a pleasure for us, for you all to be here. 30 seconds. I just want you to think about one person who has been a strong support of yours. Close your eyes. A colleague, a friend, grandfather, grandmother, anyone. Okay, for all who who had closed their eyes. You can please open your eyes. And now, was that person in a perfect relationship with you? Right? I thought it might not be a perfect relationship, but it could be that that person has been there with you through thick and thin, been there to understand you when nobody else understood. With that, we move on to strong families and strong minds. So, just a moment. I left my cue cards here. So, that way how we began this. But now, I'm going to take you to the history of Symposium. And I know we have a lot of members here who have been with us through our earlier sessions. But I see a lot of new faces here. So for the benefit of all, I will take you into flashback of Symposium. This was a brainchild of our chairman in his own office with the name of Altus Knowledge Club, where few curious minds got together and then they spoke about something important, relevant, anything on the earth. But then finally, they felt their conversations are becoming profound and they required a formal platform, a much more bigger platform than that. So, Symposium was born. Symposium was formally inaugurated on 22nd March 2026 with the first discussion as World Economic Forum, where geopolitics, global conflicts, etc. was discussed. From there, we traveled on to the business of sports. We discussed about sporting excellence. After that was a flagship event, ladies and gentlemen. That event was what happens when the sky goes dark. Very, very pertinent. You know, we are in an age of technology wherein anything can happen. So we had the who's who there in that discussion. And then one of those important things that I remember of that discussion was when Dr. Kiran Kumar, the ex-chairman of ISRO, he said, India has the capability. The only thing that we require is to build capacity in terms of ecosystem, in terms of infrastructure. And from there, we went to explore what are we leaving for our future generations in terms of climate. We had intense discussions on that. And the highlight of the evening, but ladies and gentlemen, and I would like to speak verbatim what Shri Uttam Kumar Reddy, who was our chief guest there, he spoke about Symposium. Just one second. So he said, Symposium is a valuable space where government, industry experts, and civil society can come together, not merely to agree with one another, but to engage honestly with difficult questions. Symposium has consistently brought important conversations to the table before they became unavoidable headlines. So ladies and gentlemen, that means Symposium is showing its worth. And you can see in terms of, we have more than 100 elite members in Symposium as of now. And that has happened within a span of 3 to 4 months. And then it was not possible alone for us. You have been there, dear members, also our sponsors, who have been a great support for us. So I start with, this event is proudly presented by Shalimar, our principal sponsor. We are deeply grateful for their generous support and belief in the vision of Symposium. We also express our sincere gratitude to Vamsiram, our institutional patron, to MPM, our founding patron, and ACE Foundation, our knowledge partner, for their steadfast support of Symposium. We warmly acknowledge Radha TMT and Lohia, whose sponsorship of our previous events has contributed meaningful to the Symposium journey. We also extend our thanks to our associate sponsors, IFF, Take Me to Space, and Maverick, for their valued partnership and encouragement. And how can I forget IIT Hyderabad, who was there with us, the knowledge platform for our previous session, who helped us support our white paper. So, white paper, I have to speak about this for Symposium because from where we started, we are now thought leaders. We have already published 2 white papers, and in this session, we're going to present another white paper on the last event, climate. Again, Symposium can go on and on, what has happened the last 5 months. two more things, ladies and gentlemen. We are not only doing panel discussions, discussing, printing white papers, presenting papers, but we are also looking at the grassroots level. In our last event, we had the forest man of Telangana here, who selflessly has planted thousands of trees on his 70-acre land. So Symposium awarded, basically felicitated him with a check of ₹1,00,000. So we are going that way. We are looking at the grassroots level. We also had Plastic Wala coming from Delhi, who exhibited his artifacts, which is made from plastic. So that is what Symposium has been doing. And before, I have to leave the floor, but 4 lines from my side. Not every battle is visible. Battle. It could be any battle. Not every battle is visible. Not every wound is shown. Not every battle is visible. Not every wound is shown. But healing begins when no one walks alone. With stronger minds and families that stand together, we create a tomorrow that is brighter than ever. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite on stage our visionary, the person behind Symposium, Mr. Girish Malpani, the Chairman Symposium, to render his address. Mr. Girish Malpani.
Thank you, Asha. Good evening, Symposium family. Are we awake? Show me the strength. गौर जी सबको जगा दिया मैंने आपके लिए. Respected Gaur Gopal Das ji, Dr. Pratima Murthy, our esteemed trustees and advisors, our valued sponsors and partners, dear members of the Symposium family, and all the wonderful families who have joined us tonight, a very good evening. They say, when you carry a noble thought, a thought of meaningful conversations, of changing minds for a better world, the whole universe conspires to make it happen. Dasji, I can confirm this is true, because when Symposium was just an idea, the universe sent me Shri S.P. Singh, Dr. Sameer Sharma, Shri Jayesh Ranjan, and Mr. Naveen Mittal, minds which this city deeply respects, who stood by this dream from its very first day. And the universe didn't stop here. It went one step further. It even converted my wife into my co-founder. Gentlemen, this is how you know a thought, when it is truly noble, your better half stops questioning your ideas and starts signing up for them. And this evening itself has been brought to life by our CEO, Wing Commander Asha Vashisht, and her brilliant team. Kudos. Thank you, Shalimar and Vamsiram Group, our generous sponsors. They have asked me what returns they will get on this investment. I said tonight the speakers deal only in one currency: good karma, compounded daily, tax-free, and no market risk. A special word of gratitude also to Mrs. Swati from Greenco for her constant support to this formula. And of course, MPM Group has stood behind Symposium from day one. As it happens, my own company, some commitments are simply family. Tonight, I must tell you something about my speeches. Over last 4 editions, I have learned they serve one purpose. They set the context, they warm up the room, they quietly prepare you for the main act. Think of me as the appetizer before the feast. Nobody remembers the appetizer, but try starting a great dinner without one. Tonight, I'll be honest, I'm a little tempted. In front of me sits a man who has made 3 billion people smile while teaching them the deepest truths of life. And I thought, why should he have all the fun? So tonight, with your permission, Dasji, I might steal a little bit of your show, a few smiles, a little wisdom, and hopefully no offense. After all, you teach the world to share, right? When we were preparing for this evening, I did what every well-meaning host does before meeting a great man: research. And I came across an interview where someone asked him, "You're called a monk, a swami, a guru. Which title do you prefer?" And he smiled and said, "Just call me Das." Because Das means sevak, a servant. And there is no higher position in life than to be of service. That answer stayed with me. Here is a man the world puts on the highest pedestal, and he chooses the lowest in the room. That is not humility as a performance, that is humility as a philosophy. But then I thought about it a little more, and I realized, Dasji, you may have chosen to be a Das. The rest of us in this room didn't get a choice. Das to hum sab hai, apni apni patniyon ke. And gentlemen, don't laugh so loudly. She might be sitting next to you, and tonight's topic is strong families. So let's begin the evening with peace at home. And tonight is special because this is our first edition where the whole family is in this room. I can see kids sitting here wondering which app this uncle is talking about with 3 billion views. I can see parents who came because their children insisted. And grandparents who came because, let's be honest, they are the only generation left with the patience to listen to anyone for a full hour without checking their phone. And that speakers is your real audience tonight. 3 generations, 1 hall. The kids want to know why their parents don't understand them. The parents want to know why their kids don't listen to them. And the grandparents are just happy everyone showed up. On a serious note, tonight's theme, Strong Minds, Strong Families, is perhaps the most important subject Symposium has ever taken up till date. We have discussed how nations defend their borders and how satellites defend the skies. But tonight we ask a quieter question. Who defends the mind? Who strengthens the family? Because everything we build, our companies, our institutions, our cities, is built by people, and people are built at home. We are honored beyond words to have Gaur Gopal Dasji with us, an electrical engineer who once worked at Hewlett-Packard and then made history's greatest career switch. He gave up coding and started teaching the world coding to coping. From debugging software to debugging human hearts. And unlike our software friends in this room, his solutions don't need an update every 6 months. They have been running smoothly for over 5,000 years. Joining him on this stage is another remarkable mind. While Dasji brings us the wisdom of the soul, Dr. Pratima Murthy, one of India's most respected voices in psychiatry and mental health, brings us the science of the mind. When spirituality and psychiatry share one stage, the audience should know tonight there are no excuses left. Between these two, every problem in this hall stands covered. And of course, dinner takes care of everything else. My only request to all of you this evening, put the phones up. The man on the stage has 3 billion views online. Tonight, give him something rarer, your undivided attention live. Welcome once again to the 5th edition of Symposium. Let the evening begin. Thank you.
आज से 20-25 साल पहले 10 से 15 लोगों की रहती थी हर एक घर में। वो फैमिली अब सिमट की है, मतलब आप समझिए 4 या ज़्यादा 6 हो गए हैं। मतलब 2 जनरेशन साथ में रहती है, तीसरी जनरेशन जब आती है तो ये हो जा रहा है कि नहीं रखना भी चाहते हैं ना रहना चाहती है जनरेशन। पर अब क्या हो गया है कि है 3-4 लोग, और ये जो डिजिटल का जो जमाना चल रहा है, व्हाट्सएप समझो या जो भी टीवी वगैरह जो, तो इसमें क्या हुआ उनका टाइम पूरा उसी में चला जा रहा है। मेरे को लगता है कि और ज्यादा मतलब परिस्थितियां जॉइंट फैमिली के लिए अनुकूल नहीं रहेगी।
I think today's generation, it is quite easy to say that this doesn't work for me and I just move on. It may be very essential at times. That little instinct to repair, that instinct to adjust is probably something missing. And I think that is something we would probably need the families to remain together.
Family is just not our kids and our parents. It's our grandparents, our cousins, our friends, and the community. Because they would stand by you when you really need them the most. The present generation should actually build up on what we already have. I strongly believe that every generation gets better from the one before. Thank you.
I think my generation and a generation which is elder to me took the family to be very long term and very interdependent units. That was about having a multi-generational project, something I believe which is getting lost today.
Not everybody is eligible, capable of actually understanding our problems. So we must not share with everybody and make it a mess. Rather, find the right person, share, and then try and understand whether they have understood the problem and then take their help. Everybody wants to magnify their problem. They want to make a mountain out of a mole. The problem really doesn't exist, but we want to say stories to our mind and make ourselves victim in our own stories. So I think everybody has problems, but I think we just magnify them. So we can try and sort it out in our own head.
I feel in today's generation, they are in too much of rush to prove themselves, trying to show their excessive spending capacity. Where my father's generations or my grandfather's generations, it was a little different. What kind of charity your family is doing? Are you lender in the market or are you a borrower in the market? But now it is different. Like the youngsters are in too much of pressure, which I feel is giving them a lot of stress.
The art of speaking and the diplomacy of speaking is something I've learned from the older generation in saying things politely but effectively. So yeah, speaking when the time is right from my generation and speaking effectively from the earlier one.
I think one thing that our generation understands better than other generations is that living together happily as a family and staying happily doesn't mean spending as much time as possible together. It's more about the spending quality time together free of distractions.
And now we come to a part of the evening that I know many of us have been eagerly waiting for. Our next speaker hardly needs an introduction. In a world overflowing with information, very few people possess the gift of simplifying life. Even fewer can do it with wisdom, authenticity, and humor. Gaur Gopal Das ji has that rare ability. He began his journey as an electrical engineer, a graduate of the College of Engineering, Pune, and went on to work with Hewlett-Packard. But early on, he made a choice that would change the course of his life. He dedicated and decided to upgrade his career, not in the corporate sense, but in the truest sense, and became a monk and a life coach. For over 2 decades since, he has taken the stage at some of the world's most prestigious academic institutions and corporate firms in India and abroad, including addresses at the United Nations and the British Parliament. He has lent his voice generously to countless charity events, raising funds for causes, education, and rural development. His reach today is staggering, ladies and gentlemen. His motivational videos have crossed nearly 3 billion, that's what the chairman just mentioned, and he's followed by over 26 million people across social media, earning him the title of Urban Online Monk. He's the author of 3 blockbuster bestsellers, Life's Amazing Secrets, Energize Your Mind, and You Can Have It All, and the founder of Monkify, a holistic well-being app that helps thousands of people every single day build healthier, calmer minds. His work has been recognized with numerous honors, including the prestigious Dada Saheb Phalke International Film Festival Award, Lokmat's Most Stylish International Life Coach Award, and an honorary doctorate from KIT University, among many others. Drawing from timeless wisdom passed down through the ages, his talks have a rare quality. They make us think deeper and find simple solutions to life's most difficult problems. An engineer by training, a monk by choice, an author, life coach, and one of the most influential voices of our time. He has inspired millions through insights on relationships, happiness, purpose, leadership, and personal well-being. We are truly honored to have you with us this evening, sir. Thank you so much for coming. May I now request you on the stage for your much-awaited address. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him with a big round of applause. A little louder than that.
A very good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, doesn't look like very happy seeing me, guys. A very good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. You still don't sound very happy. A very good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I love that now. That sounds like a deal here. Great energy in the room now. It is my great privilege, pleasure, and honor to be here this evening, and my sincere gratitude to Mr. Girish Malpani and Mrs. Malpani, who came to receive me at the airport this afternoon and gave me a very brief on Symposium, which lasted from the airport to the hotel. Right. So that's Mrs. Malpani, but her brief was absolutely on point, and Mr. Malpani was trying to give me a brief. I said, I know it all. And then he said to me, now you know why I know it all. And of course, my sincere gratitude to each and every one of you who have taken the time out to be here on a weekday, or shall we say a week evening, right? Rather a week evening. And I'm hoping that from this week evening, we carry ideas not about a weak family, but a strong family, right? And those strong families that could really lead to stronger minds. My gratitude once again to all of you, of course. Thank you for that. And how we wish we could have continued on with the appetizer, isn't it? I mean, I have had appetizers as full meals. Any of you ever had appetizers only as meals? Mr. Malpani, I'm going. You can come on and, we could just do with the appetizer as well. But an absolute pleasure again to be with all of you here. And thank you, Dr. Murthy. Looking forward to the conversation with you as well. How many of you would like me to speak in English? Okay, brilliant. आप में से कितने लोग हिंदी में भी सुनना चाहेंगे? Okay, how many of you don't want to listen? The doors are still open. You can choose to move out, and there's no issue with that at all. The problem with me is I think in English. And if I were to ever speak in Hindi, that means an online translation of an English thought into a Hindi sentence, which then I speak out. Right? The issue with that is there can be a glitch and a massive mess up. एक शादीशुदा आदमी से किसी ने बोला कि ये हिंदी लाइन को इंग्लिश में ट्रांसलेट करो. क्या है हिंदी लाइन क्या है? बोला दुख हमेशा अपने साथ रहता है. दुख हमेशा, why are you guys already laughing? दुख हमेशा अपने साथ रहता है, सुख आता जाता रहता है. Translate. The guy said, wife always stays with me. Girlfriend comes and goes. That guy deserves a whack, I'm telling you. Nevertheless, I can't afford to take risks like these. So we will see how it flows with the language. At the end of the day, it's never about the language. It's about the communication. And if there's a certain language that helps us say it better, we say it. If that language doesn't help us say it better, we better switch modes and get to what helps us truly communicate our thought. With that said, can I come down if that's all right? Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So here's the steps here. I love this. Stages are boring places, I'm telling you. Extremely boring. They're places very lonely. You're alone. This is a condition of mental health, isn't it, madam, today? Isolated, alone, dealing with so much in our minds. Stages are like success. The higher up you go, the lonelier you get. You know why? Because you just don't know whom to trust. Trust is such a massive issue, especially if you're a super duper success. If you're a public figure who's very successful, if you're a multi-billionaire who's very successful, one of the most critical issues is trust. Whom do you trust? Because people don't connect with you. They connect with your resources. You are a resource for them. You're not a friend to them. You're a resource who can be used to their advantage. That's about it. Bloody shit. Period. Right. Absolutely period. All this networking, dost, forced, garbage. When you're a big man, all that's crap. Nobody's coming to you because you're a friend. Everybody's coming to you because you're a resource who can be very well used. मैं 30 साल से बोल रहा हूं, एक लुक्का सेल्फी के लिए नहीं आया कभी. और आज सब, especially the girls, and all the girls, Guruji, can I have a selfie, please? And the guys are so envious, I'm telling you. These guys are trying to woo them, then go come and इसके साथ selfie ले. That's called hashtag monk swag. Trust me, guys. मैं हमेशा कहता हूं, मेरे साथ फोटो खींच रहे हैं? नहीं, मेरे अच्छे वक्त के साथ फोटो खींच रहे हैं. Nobody is coming to you, they're coming to your good times. अच्छे वक्त के साथ बैठे हैं अभी आप. You're all sitting with good times in this hall at the moment. इसीलिए मैं कहता हूं, जिनके ना आते थे जवाब उनके सलाम आने लगे. जिनके ना आते थे जवाब उनके सलाम आने लगे. मेरा वक्त क्या बदला, मेरे नीम के पेड़ पे आम आने लगे. Seriously, man, I'm telling you, suddenly everything just switched ways. And then I'm wondering, are they even bloody concerned about me? They're just interested in a picture that they'll post, a video bite, a clip for their next, whatever they do. Are they even concerned about me? Are people even concerned about you or your popularity, your resources, your money, your power, your position? In a world where everything is just a resource, you can imagine the state of minds people have. You can imagine the condition of mental health that people have. When trust is such a precious commodity, we want to open up and speak up. Whom do you talk to? You're scared that your phone is listening. The dark side of technology today is I put my phone, you're bloody, this piece of shit is listening. I'm scared. Trust is a precious commodity, guys. He cracked up just by hearing that. But it is. And you don't know whom to trust. And वक्त बदलता जरूर है. तब नीम के पेड़ पे आम नहीं आते, आम के पेड़ पे नीम आते हैं. Times change. Things don't remain the same always for anybody. How many of you fly? Oh, have I asked a very tough question? I don't mean flying a bird, I mean flying on a plane. Obviously. And how many of you can, with hand on your heart, say that the takeoff of the flight is absolutely not in our control? Oh, obviously. I flew so much in the year 2019, I suppose. I took about 280 flights that year. And the whole cabin crew was my friends. And the chief stewardess, once I was on a flight, and she says, "Welcome on board, sir, we guarantee takeoff." I said, "Landing, madam?" Said, "You're a monk, right? Prayers are important." Today you can buy a ticket on first class to fly somewhere. पैसे से टिकट खरीद लेंगे फ्लाई करने के लिए. हवा में जाने के लिए पैसे लगते हैं, नीचे आने के लिए नसीब लगता है भाई आज. Seriously, you never know what's happening in this aviation industry, trust me. Is the landing in our control? No. Absolutely no control over the landing. You can't do anything about the landing. Is the turbulence in our control? No. Nope is the answer. In a journey, 3 important parameters: takeoff, landing, turbulence are absolutely not in our control. And so is life. Our birth is the takeoff of the journey of our lives. No control over it. How many of you chose your parents? No. How many of you chose your looks? Nobody looks as good as their Instagram DP. And nobody looks as ugly as their Aadhaar card picture, trust me. I can't get the hang of why can't they get a good picture of mine on the Aadhaar card? It's my national identity. I look like a criminal on it. Oof. No control. And the landing of the plane. Do I even have to say it? Do I have to explicitly spell it out? If a flight takes off, it lands. If life begins, it ends. And the ending of life is not in our control as well, unless you emergency force land the plane. Which is so sad. Which is so sad. Like a 65-year-old lady, she had a 30-year-old nephew who wasn't married. And every single time there was a wedding in the family, she would nudge the nephew, saying, "Agla tera number hai." Huh? And I'm telling you, these youngsters hate being told get married. Agla tera number, agla tera number, agla tera number. 6 months later, there was a death in the family. Both were standing next to each other for the funeral. This time the guy said, "Agla aapka number hai, auntie." Trust me, we have absolutely no clue. Takeoff, landing, not in our control. And we don't need to worry about those parameters. What we truly need to be bothered about is the turbulence that comes in between. Seriously, guys. Who cares where I was born? Wherever I was born doesn't matter. Who's wondering and who's being obsessed and paranoid about when and where I'm going to die? Maybe a few people, madam might know, in the field of... No, she's a clinical psychiatrist. They studied that, and there might be exceptions to the rule. But majority people are not obsessed about when and how I'm dying. We're not concerned about the takeoff. We're not concerned so much about the landing. But turbulence, because that's what's affecting our lives. Mental health issues are not because of birth and death, are they? People's minds are not bothered and disturbed because where and when and how they were born. People's minds, and few, with a couple of exceptions, of course, are not being bothered by when and how and where am I going to die. People's minds are affected by the turbulence that goes on in between the takeoff and the landing. मौत को तो लोग यूं ही बदनाम करते हैं साहब. मौत को तो लोग यूं ही बदनाम करते हैं, वरना तकलीफ वैसे जिंदगी से है. राइट? मौत से क्या तकलीफ है? एक दिन और खत्म. जिंदगी रोज मर रहे हैं. रोज. I'm sorry to say, God gave us a life not to die daily. Death is meant to be once. God gave us a life to live daily. लोग क्या कहेंगे इस सोच में कुछ यूं उलझे जा रहे हैं. लोग क्या कहेंगे इस सोच में हम कुछ यूं उलझे जा रहे हैं. दिल करना कुछ और चाहता है, हम किए कुछ और जा रहे हैं. सोचते हैं वक्त बहुत है हमारे पास. सोचते हैं वक्त बहुत है हमारे पास, अभी इतनी क्या जल्दी पड़ी है, अभी औरों के हिसाब से जीते हैं, हमारे पास तो सारी उम्र पड़ी है. दिल और दिमाग की इस कश्मकश में, दिल और दिमाग की इस कश्मकश में जिंदगी के पन्ने बड़ी रफ्तार से पलटते जा रहे हैं. इतने तो जिए भी नहीं साहब जितना हम बेवजह रोज मरे जा रहे हैं. You know? It's not income tax that's killing you. Oh, it does as well. I hope there's no income tax commissioner here in the audience. There is? Who is it? Who's killing us? So you! Thank you for being a sport, sir. For 100 years minimum, of course. Thank you, sir. Oh, who's cancer? You know? Roj ke mare ja rahe hain hum. Living less, dying more. We are a generation of living less, dying more. We are a generation of fake smiles and crying hearts. एक पिलो को छोड़ के पति या पत्नी को भी पता नहीं क्या हो रहा है. The only person who knows what you truly feel sometimes is your pillow. Because you're burrowing your head into your pillow, crying your heart out, sometimes your tears out. Nobody else knows. Sometimes things are so sensitive you can't even say this. The RBI governor, who was the governor at the time of the demonetization, some good friends, we were talking. And he said to me that he knew about what was happening. Obviously, he had to know. He's the RBI governor for several months. He said, I wasn't allowed to speak to anybody, including my spouse. How can you? Spouse was बोले माँ को एक बताऊँ एक खबर है नोट जा रहा है भाई गड़बड़ कैसे बोल सकते हैं? Now, demonetization is an official secret. There's a lot of personal secrets we carry. Personal traumas, personal secrets, personal insecurities, personal failures, pressures, anxieties, worries. Man, I'm telling you, I'm not sure if this is the way to live a life. I can definitely say this is the way to die every day. Yes, indeed. But not too sure if this is the way to live a life. And that's precisely why we are here today. To talk a little bit about strong families building strong minds. How do families really help us in this journey in dealing with this turbulence? Do they even know how to deal with it? Just look at the differences of opinion, how the videos were so divided on what they were saying. Look at the baby boomers and the millennials and the Gen X's and the Gen Z's, and to say nothing of the Gen Alphas and Beta. Beta to पूछे अभी जन्म हुआ क्या वो बोलेंगे भी क्या वो? With such a divided room on what a family should be and what a family should be doing and what a family should not be doing and how a family should be treating each other and how a family should not be treating each other, in such a divided room with such divided opinions and thought processes and mindsets and ideologies, how do you really look at this whole concept of strong families helping us build strong minds? You know what? The takeoff, landing, not control, obviously. Turbulence, our challenges, problems, not in our control. An expert pilot is somebody who knows there's turbulence, but knows how to navigate through that turbulence. We're in the middle of a mental health crisis at the moment. And if there's something that's necessary more than ever, it's how to navigate this turbulence. And that's why I'm glad that we are even taking such a topic. Are you all with me, by the way? Yes. Making sense, guys? Come on, make some noise, guys! Woo! Oh, love that. थोड़ा शांति, इतना serious हो गया. इतना serious नहीं होना चाहिए कभी evening. The message needs to be grave. The way you say it doesn't have to be grave. Message needs to be grave. We're talking of death, but we're talking of the aunt and the guy nudging. Grave. We're here to see how to navigate that turbulence. Could our families help us navigate that turbulence better? How many of you like going on a holiday? Oh, lovely. How many of you like planning the holiday more than enjoying the holiday? Oh, wow, there are a couple of hands up. Yes, so raise her. No, after her brief, I can tell, sir. She's like a presentation in the car. Organizing, on point. How many of you love enjoying the holiday more than organizing the holiday? Oh, love, she's both her hands up there. How many of you need a 3 days holiday after the holiday? You're so tired and fatigued after that, you just need a 3 days break. You know, when Indians go overseas, Indians on this flight, they have a philosophy, paisa bhara hai na, pura vasool karke aunga main. Even if I face a burnout to the point of exhaustion, I don't care. You know, when an American guy gets completely drunk on a flight, he says, I'm going to go to sleep now. When a British guy gets completely drunk on a, I'm going to read a book. A German guy gets completely drunk, I'm going to play a game. Indian guy gets completely drunk on a plane. The pilot बाजू को हो, plane मैं चलाने वाला है. Now, jokes apart. Imagine a drunk guy navigating the turbulence. That's what we are a lot of times. Not even sure what we are doing. Anxious, burnt out, insecure. Are our decisions in navigating this turbulence even informed? Are they made with clarity? You know, a lot of times we make decisions just to get them off our heads. How many of you have had that? ये बस खत्म करना है कैसे भी खत्म करो बस निकाल दो. How many of you typed that message because जाएगा सोना है मन से. Sorry बोलना नहीं है वो idiot उस idiot को sorry बोलूँगा मैं. But sorry तू सो मैं सोता हूँ. Strange, but that's how it works a lot of times. So I'm here to share with you families. The role of a family in navigating this turbulence in the mental health crisis. And I'm not going to tell you stories from elsewhere, I'm going to share you my own stories. I'm a Gen X guy. And what my parents did, what my family did. If I'm called a strong mind today, I'm not sure if I am, but I'm called a strong mind today with some little clarity I might have. There have been people who have been a reason, a strong reason for doing. Shall I share some stories, guys? Are you all with me, guys? And trust me, principles are timeless. Doesn't matter which generation. The application may change, the jargon may change. Like I was speaking to Gen X, IB school kids, I guess kind of 13-ish, 14-ish to 16-ish, and instead of saying monk swag, I said hashtag monk riz. Loved it. Just monk riz and they loved it. You just say, no hang-ups, man. That's good, hang-up. Coming from a monk, it sounds even better, you know. So the language may change. The terminology may change. Principles don't change. 5,000 years back, what was the solution to darkness, guys? Light. 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 Absolutely, light. Light. Today, what is the solution to darkness, guys? Obviously, light. 5,000 years later, what will be the solution to darkness, madam? Light. Would there be any argument on it? No. Period. Darkness, solution, light. But 5,000 years back, how we administered light was different. Today, how we administer light is different. 5,000 years later, how we administer light will be different. So to grandpas and parents, just a small little thing. The principles you learned will always be the same in dealing with our kids and our families and our relationships. But how must change with changing times. The how doesn't change, your what has no value. Because it just doesn't register. It just doesn't I love you. I know you love me, Dad. But the way you love me is not how I perceive love. I know you love me, darling, honey, but the way you love me is not how I perceive love. Talk to me in my language. Speak to me in, okay, I'm going to say a couple of words, okay? Labyachu. Any idea? No. All right, let's go for another one. Spasiba balchoi. No? Let's get an easier one for you. Grazie mille. Thank you. Although Italian pizza love is for easy. Thank you. Rumba nandri. Tamilians in the house. Thank you. English. Dhanyavad. Hindi. Now I said the same word several times and you didn't understand because the language was different. I'm screaming I love you, but the person in front doesn't understand because the language they talk is different. And unless you speak their language, they won't feel loved. Which is exactly why Gary Chapman wrote this book called The 5 Love Languages. And every family must, an absolute must, read that book. And today it's Gary Chapman's 5 Love Languages for teens, for Gen Zs. Everything has come out, but the original book is called 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Meri bhasha bolo. आप कितना ही मुझसे प्यार करते हो, मुझे कोई खाक फर्क नहीं पड़ता जब तक मुझे वो समझ में नहीं आए कि आप प्यार करते हो. Good. Am I making sense, guys? All right, I love that. Both ways, of course, and I'll come to that as well, sir. Mr. Malpani had to say it. दोनों साइड से होना चाहिए ना, sir? बिल्कुल होना चाहिए. Oh, yes, absolutely. On point. So, any of you ever failed in an exam, guys? Yeah. Oh, wow, I love that. There was a boy, college-going boy, who was walking with his dad, and he got a message from his friend saying, our results are out. The guy messaged back. So, well, my dad's with me. Pick up the phone anytime. Idhar hi dhulai hoga mera. I don't know what will happen if he sees I failed. So let's communicate in code language. If I fail in one subject, say good morning to you, I'll understand. If I fail in 2, say good morning to you and dad. In 5 minutes, the guy got a message saying good morning to you, dad, family and friends. The guy conged off in all subjects. In my 2nd grade, I failed geography. In my 9th grade, I failed. 2nd grade, I failed mathematics. 9th grade, I failed geography. There's only 2 times I failed in my life in academics. मैं घर आया, पापा ने रिपोर्ट देखा. सर, आपको याद होगा तब का प्यार जताना कैसे होता था. My dad gave me one tight slap. The only 2 times I got hit by my dad was in my 2nd grade on failing in mathematics and my 9th grade on failing in geography. And I haven't, for heaven's sake, forgotten. Because mummy ka maar phar aisa laddu rehta hai. वो क्या है? उसनो, who takes it seriously anyways, you know? Who takes mom like, mommy? Dad, God, better take him seriously. He's funding your education. Oh my. Whew. And I don't even say that. Today in the world, hitting, come on. Parenting has changed. Back then it was love, absolute concern. I remember it was my dad's love and concern, 100%. Could it be out of anything else? Did my dad hate me? No. Did my dad didn't like me? No. He loved me. Was my dad against me, cross with me? No. What else could I see but love? But at that time I thought, why the bloody hell is he hitting me? Phew. Serious, guys. And that's exactly what Gen Z feels in their own way. Why is mom and dad doing this? I want to be at that party and be back by 3 or 4 a.m. And my mom and dad are installing CCTV cameras in the form of the driver, the house help, to be around. Don't you trust me? Dad, mom, इतने साल मेरे साथ रह के मुझ में श्रद्धा नहीं है, विश्वास नहीं है. Didn't I say trust is a very expensive commodity? Even in relationships today. So difficult to trust. You know what my dad did? Next day, after I received that slap, I'm used to doing this kind of stuff, sorry. The next day, after receiving the tight slap on my face, my dad brought me a game. And he said, the game is for all the other subjects in which you scored so well. In my 9th grade, when I'd failed in geography, I so badly wanted to go for that school trip, which was just conflicting with our whatever family function, and they were saying no to it. My dad slapped me. And that very evening he said to me, you can go for the school trip. And this is for all the wonderful grades that you got in these subjects. Correcting is no problem. Saying, how can you just shut up? If things are not going right, how can you just shut up? Is shutting up the solution? No. If things are not right, they're not good, they're not in the right track, we need to say it, we need to call it out. But when we are calling it out, how do we call it out? What's your language? What's your jargon? Do you trust your children? And most important of all, are you investing in that relationship? Every relationship is going to have moments of withdrawal. Every time you call out something, every time you quote unquote reprimand in the way that this generation allows, every single time, you're withdrawing from the account. And you can withdraw amounts, guys. Imagine Mr. Ambani was to withdraw $100 from his bank account. So Mukesh Ambani has to withdraw $100 from his bank account. Is it a big deal? Because the investments in the bank account have been so many. Let every time you call out some wrong behavior or wrong mistake or whatever has happened be just $100 in a 3 billion. And which is why relationships, whether it's between spouses, teams, colleagues, parents, siblings, must follow the pattern of what is called as the emotional bank deposits. If you're not depositing enough, please do not withdraw. You don't have the right to call it out. My dad wouldn't have that right to slap me if he did not keep investing in that relationship. I would have felt traumatized. You know what mental health trauma comes from? Not because of the withdrawal, because there has been not enough deposits. Mental health issues, feeling lost, feeling traumatized is not coming because you said something to your kid or your spouse or your whoever. It's coming because the deposits are very meager. So don't worry about the withdrawals. Every now and then you're going to have to do it. But do worry about deposits every single day. As you go to bed, write a journal, saying in whatever relationship you're talking about, what did I deposit today? And every single time you make a withdrawal, write it down and saying it was an absolute must, I didn't have a choice but to say it and call it out. But for this, like my dad, the game after the slap in grade 2 and the school picnic after the slap in grade 9, that wasn't a punishment reward mechanism. That was an emotional bank deposit. If my father would have slapped me 10 times after that as well, even today I would have proudly said with hand on my heart, my dad loved me, right? Because he invested so much in me, right? Strong families make strong minds. You become strong not because you were just pampered. You need to be called out. How many of you go to the gym? Oh, you do? Right. I have a gym trainer who goes with me everywhere. Sadly, he's not with me here today. I am going to Kolkata tomorrow despite my very bad health. Somehow we committed to a series of events and I can't back out as much as I want to because I'm very bad health currently. On heavy dose of antibiotics, Mumbai is seeing a lot of these viral infections. Just not going, it's been 5 days and I finished the course. I'm going to be about to call my doctor now to give me another course to start from tomorrow because another 5 days are like mad. So my trainer goes with me. I started because I had this disease called osteopenia. The stage before osteoporosis, my bones are brittle. So weight training was recommended. I started weight training just for a medical reason, and today weight training is a passion side by side as well because I love doing it. And we started with meager weights, guys. Meager weights. Today bench pressing 160 kgs. Bench pressing 160. Did this morning before I left. 6:30 in the morning before I took a flight. Squatting 180 kgs, guys, after 2 knee ligament tears. You know what? You can never, ever grow without resistance. Your muscles will never grow without resistance. Pamper your muscles and they'll just remain in a state of atrophy. We're wondering, why are they doing this to me? Why am I why are they being hard? Why is this happening to me? Why this? Why this? Why this? A life that's all comfy, a life that's all pampered, a life where everything has had a yes and no was not taken for an answer can never grow. Muscles don't grow like that. Muscles grow under resistance. They grow under huge resistance. Strong families means also providing that resistance. And every time there is a withdrawal from that account, it's a resistance for our kids or our partners or whoever to grow. Now, believe me, those two were not truly failures. 2 times. Guys, not a bad record, isn't it? 2 times. The bigger failure came as I just had finished my diploma in electrical engineering. I stood first 4 consecutive semesters. And the last semester, which meant a state ranking in the state of Maharashtra, I lost my first rank for 4 marks. I was devastated, disappointed. How many of you get disturbed sometimes? Okay, frustrated, upset? Oh, those of you who are not raising your hands, you expect me to believe you, right? That you never get frustrated, never get angry, never get upset, never get disappointed. Oh gosh. I was walking in London on Oxford Street, and there was a gentleman who was wearing a t-shirt which said, "Do not disturb." And underneath in large font was written, "Already disturbed. Abhi kya aur disturb karega tu mujhe?" That evening as I came back home, I cried. Wow. Shall we? No, we're just trying to put it there. Laga de bhai. Arey, kya baat hai? Give him a loud round of applause. He fixed it. He fixed the P. Oh man, sorry. Hey. Bad guys. Oh my. I remember coming back home. I cried. I was grown up. भाई साहब, ये मर्द को दर्द नहीं होता वाला फिलॉसफी ना पहले कचरे में डालो. Isn't it, ma'am? सबको दर्द होता है. और उसको अंदर रखने से कुछ नहीं होता. Pressure cooker जानते हैं? How many of you cook in a pressure cooker sometimes? Like rice, rajma, chola. There's a reason to have a, what do you call it? The weight. Yeah, हिंदी का सीटी का हम विसल कर देते हैं, पर इंग्लिश में हम लोग उसको प्रेशर वेट बोलते हैं शायद, जो भी. But we'll call it whistle, sir. अपन पूरा देसी में बोलेगा. वो whistle. You know what? If you didn't have that system, that mechanism, you know what would happen? Explode. A lot of mental health issues and explosions are not because the pressure is that much as that the pressure doesn't have a vent. You don't know who to talk to. You don't know where to talk. You don't know what to say. You don't know how to express yourself. Because there are no safe spaces. A safe space where I wouldn't feel judged. A safe space where I wouldn't be compared. A safe space where I wouldn't be lectured. A safe space where I would just be understood. I would just be understood. मैं आया, बहुत रोया, सबसे पहले. रोता नहीं मैं जनरली, रुलाता हूँ लोगों को. बहुत रोया मैं. I was about 19, I guess, that time. 18, 19-ish. Was crying like mad, guys. My dad looked into my eyes, wiping my tears with his handkerchief. Oh, how lovely that was. Those were the days when we carried handkerchiefs in our pockets, not tissues. Pulled out his handkerchief. I was like, beat all, like real senti swag, seriously. Don't cry. So, it was a touch of assurance. You know how touch is assuring? छूते हैं आप कभी? You know how much touch is assuring? Sir, ऐसा पकड़ के बस आपके कुछ मुश्किल समझ रहे, you know how assuring that touch from a loved one is? My dad wiped my eyes and patted my back. I found a safe space. Strong families provide safe spaces. Strong minds come later. Between strong families and strong minds is a gap, and that gap needs to be filled with safe spaces. Safe spaces where I'm not judged. Safe spaces where I'm not lectured कि हमारे जमाने में ऐसा 3 बजे नहीं आते थे. अरे आपका जमाना गया अभी. हमारा जमाना कब तक बोलेंगे हम ये बातें? जमाना बहुत आगे चल चुका है. समझने की जरूरत है, एक सेफ स्पेस देने की, लेक्चर की नहीं. क्या उस जमीन में, क्या उस गली से कभी तेरा जाना हुआ, जहां से जमाने को गुजरे जमाना हुआ. मेरा समय तो वहीं पे है ठहरा हुआ. बताऊं तुम्हें क्या मेरे साथ क्या क्या हुआ. खामोशियाँ आवाज है, तुम सुनने तो आओ जरा. छूकर तुम्हें खिल जाएंगी, घर इनको बुलाओ जरा. बेकरार है बात करने को, कहने दो इनको जरा. खामोशियाँ तेरी मेरी खामोशियाँ. भगवद गीता का श्लोक पूछूं? खामोशियाँ बोलो तो सब fill in the blanks. I'll tell you, उस खामोशी के पीछे बहुत आवाज हैं. Repressing that sound is like a pressure cooker. कहने दो इनको जरा. Let it come out. Mental health issues are seldom because of the issue itself. Mental health issues are issues in majority cases because they don't find that outlet. Carrying it all the time internally. There's a difference between repression and resilience. Repression is I'm finding it hard, I'm hurt, I'm disappointed, I'm frustrated. But I'm not going to show it to anybody. Repression. Resilience. I'm finding it hard, I'm upset, I'm frustrated, disappointed. But I'm going to speak up and seek help. Resilience is about seeking help. I cried. मेरे पापा देखे मेरे पास, आंसू पहुंचे. वो पहला टच ही reassuring था. You want to make strong families? Create safe spaces. Period. बोलने दो, वाइफ को बोलने दो, हस्बैंड को बोलने दो, बच्चों को बोलने दो, कलीग्स को बोलने दो. हस्बैंड्स बोल रहे सर मत बोलो, बोलने दो बोलो तो दिन जाएगा उसमें ही. And guess what, guys? I think I've got 4 minutes left and a long story to share. I'll complete this if that's fine. With me? Can I go for a bit more? All right, love that. Thank you, sir. कभी भी स्पीकर को बोलो मत बोलना ज्यादा, क्योंकि वो माइक का लाल नहीं, वो माइक का लाल होता है. ज्यादा बोला तो बोलते रहे वो. And how do you create those safe families? Oh, sorry, strong families where there are safe spaces. Strong families where there are safe spaces, non-judgmental spaces where you can talk, are created by adults, not by youngsters. And sadly, the adults are the ones sometimes who don't do it. Because values are not taught, values are caught. I understand it as a safe space only when I see that there is a safe space when they are talking. My dad, he would come back from work and he would share with my mom everything that he was going through, and we were listening while we were doing homework. We realized that when we were going through this, also we could speak. There was a culture set. It became a precedent in our home that if we are going through something, we don't need to keep quiet. My dad was talking about the deadlines. How many of you ever had deadlines to meet, guys? Deadlines, my God, what a word we have used, right? By the time you cross the line, you know what happens. That's why they call it a deadline. Who has ever called it a lifeline? I have a 6-month lifeline to meet. Nobody says that. Any of you ever went to politics in business or workplace? My God. Sometimes when I ask that question, कुछ लोग बोलते सर हाथ कैसे उठाएगा सर पॉलिटिक्स करता है बगल में बैठा है मेरे. Oh, sorry about that. All those pressures. My dad would come and talk. And my mom would talk about her relationship with her mom-in-law, which is my grandma. Typical Marwadi Jain family. Right. Typical, standard stuff. They didn't go along with each other. The chemistry didn't match. नहीं match हुआ तो नहीं match हुआ कोई थोड़ी bloodline है उनका. They were talking. My dad was listening. I was listening. A safe space where one could talk and you could be heard. I saw that. If you create it, everybody around will learn that if I have to cry, I can cry. If I have to share it truthfully, I can share it truthfully. If I want to speak up, I can speak up. If I just need a handkerchief to wipe my tears being wiped, that's fine. You know what? 80% of mental health issues will be sorted there. There are others which can't be sorted just by that. Ma'am will talk about it. 2 weeks back, my phone, look at my phone, guys. 17 Pro Max, 2 terabytes. Orange was made only for me. Apple made it for me. She's cracking up. And guess what? I tell people, what you guys have to buy, I get as a gifts. Choose your career wisely, I'm telling you. So sorry guys, just joking on the lighter end. Just 2 weeks back, I was walking out of the bathroom and I slipped. And I fell like mad on my head on that little thing of the bathroom. It hurt me like crazy and my phone fell down. Gosh. फोन कैसा गिर सकता है मेरी जिंदगी है तू मेरी जिंदगी है तू मेरी दिल लगी. She knows the song, so she's laughing like that. And there was these 3 lines on my screen. Big 3 lines which just wouldn't go away. So my screen was damaged. What do I tell that damaged screen? Affirmations. You are powerful. You will do it. The universe is aligned with you. Line jayega. 4 दिन हो गया नहीं गया. You shouldn't ever be hopeless. Hope is the elixir of life. Line nahi gaya. What should I do? Take a handkerchief and asu pochu. At such times, you need to go to NIMHAMS. At such time, I had to take my phone to the Apple Service Center because certain issues are so critical that clinical, professional help is a mandate. But most other health issues, 80% of them, will just be sorted if you can create that safe space. My dad looked at me and said to me, "Can I see your mark sheet, please?" That's when he even asked about my mark sheet. Till now, he didn't even talk about the mark sheet. He just made me feel completely reassured with his touch and with his handkerchief of wiping my tears. He understood me more than anybody else could understood what I was going through. He knew there must have been something wrong. He definitely knew this guy is not the second grade and ninth grade guy who needs a slap any longer. He knew that he stood first in 4 semesters, not going to flunk any subject, obviously. He looked at my mark sheet. Second in the state of Maharashtra. Not a college topper, a state topper. Second in the state of Maharashtra, right? My dad, man, I'm telling you, gem of a man, is no more. And he made his mistakes. I made my mistakes. No relationship is all perfect. Obviously not. Even our parents. Don't give your parents, don't make your parents God. They're respectable, but they also make mistakes. Human beings, if you believe in one except for God, nobody else is perfect. If you believe in one. If you don't worry about it. Right? Oh my goodness me. क्या बताऊं आपको? उन्होंने भी अपनी गलतियां कही. मैंने भी अपनी कुछ गलतियां करी. But I know what he told me then, never forgotten in my life. And became something that I've been teaching the world a lot in dealing with mental health issues. Came from a strong family, a strong dad, and a mom as well. I've not been talking about mom because today is all dad stories here. There are times when I only talk about my mom and what she did to me. Because theory क्या बताऊं आपको, अपनी जिंदगी बताता हूं खड़े रह के बोल कैसे रहूं आज यहाँ. My dad, he looked at my mark sheet and said to me, look son, you are second in the state of Maharashtra. Is it something to cry over? I said, Dad, for the last 4 semesters I was first in the state of Maharashtra. And this is the last semester, may I? Okay, thank you. Some August company, if you allow me. All right, brilliant. Brilliant. वो देखो दिख रहा है ना सबको, फिर कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं भाई, कैमरा थोड़ा फेस पे डालो ना भाई. हाँ अभी ठीक है, ताकि वो लोग कंप्लेन नहीं करे कि दिख नहीं रहा है हमको. होए. Oh gosh. He said to me, who will remember the rank? Nobody. Even Olympics ranks nobody remembers. The best of sports people nobody remembers. Mr. Venkatesh Prasad, some of you know Mr. Venkatesh Prasad, the world of cricket. He was at a airport and we were going through security screening and Mr. Venkatesh Prasad comes up to me and says to me, sir, I'm such a fan and I love your talks. And blah, 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 blah. He kept saying and says, just to let you know, I'm Mr. Venkatesh Prasad. I said, I know, sir. He said, many don't. He said, many don't. Ask a Gen Z guy today if they know about Venkatesh Prasad, they don't. भाई वेंकटेश प्रसाद को भूल गया. अभी किसी जेन जी को मधुबाला के बारे में पूछो. कौन मधुबाला? भाई उठ थोड़ा. Okay, उठना यार. Please, one, please. What's your name? Huh? Ishan. Tell me who's Madhubala? Okay. Okay. Okay, tell me who's Taylor Swift? A singer. Thank you, thank you. Can we give a loud round of applause to Ishan, please? Thank you. Case rested, period. If you can't remember a Madhubala, Taylor Swift will be in the list 10 years later. Nobody will know her. I will be in the list 10 years later. Nobody will know me. My dad said to me, who remembers the rank? Kaun yaad rakhega? What you should be proud of, son, and I and your mother and our family is so absolutely proud of you that you've done so well for yourself. And now we need to look at how do we really capitalize and cash on this opportunity. And I'm going to conclude with this little thing that I'm going to say, and then probably do whatever is necessary to be done. But at the moment, I need to conclude this little story that I've been sharing that became the very basis of what I've been teaching people in dealing with such issues. How many of you are great at maths in school? Okay. How many of you are terrible at maths in school? Okay. How many of you didn't care a damn about maths in school? Lost. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. A teacher came to a classroom and asked a class of 7-year-olds, a ship is sinking, a frog is croaking, and potatoes are 20 rupees a kilo. Guess what my age is? The kid said, can you come back, ma'am? What was that question? She said, a ship is sinking, a frog is croaking, and potatoes are 20 rupees a kilo. Get what my age is. One boy raised his hand, 32, madam. She said, that's bang on. But how did you get that correct? The boy said, well, my sister's 16 years old and she's half mad. Like, what's the connection, right? Ship, frog, potatoes, and age. How can there be any connection from the sun? Whew. But being an engineer, mathematics comes quite natural to me. And here's what I would like to suggest based on what my dad taught me. Because strong families do create strong ideas, strong minds. And there's been a lot of rubbish that's gone in my life in the last couple of years after becoming a public figure as well. Obviously. People are more after you when you're a famous guy, not when you're an unknown guy. And what my dad taught me has been the absolute foundation of how it did not get on to me. To say that it did not get on to me would be an exaggeration. We are human beings, we are not rocks. We feel, we go through those low phases. Resilience is how do we bounce back into good mental health. In the equation of our life's turbulence, whatever that is for you right now, there is a pie. If anybody might oblige me by telling me what the value of pi is, 22 by 7, which accounts to about 3.1418, and add as many digits after that. And if you might oblige me by telling me what is pi called in mathematics? Yes, sir? Constant. Thank you. Constant. That's brilliant. It's called a constant. And it's called a constant for a reason. You can't change it. Hundreds of our mental issues, health issues are coming from things that we have absolutely no control over. I don't have control over my standing second. I know why I stood second too. I'm not going to tell you the story of what happened internally, but I had no control over it. If I go and hit my head against this wall or this pillar, do you think the pillar will move? But do you think my head will hurt? Absolutely. That's what we do with our mental health issues. Keep hitting our heads against people, situations, circumstances that we can do very less about or nothing about. At least at the moment, we can't do much about it. What can you do about Hormuz? What can you do about Mr. Donald Trump? Except talk on a forum like this and go away eating some tiramisu and drinking some vodka. What can you do about it? At the moment, it's a pie. Why are you punishing yourself for something that no control? My head hurts by hitting my head against that. In one case, the pillar can move. Like a guy asked me, what is more powerful, 15 liters milk or 200 ml neat vodka? I said, किससे पूछ रहा है तू भाई? मैं बोला 15 लीटर दूध. बोला गलत गुरुजी. कैसे? बोला 15 लीटर दूध बोलो जाके सर पीटो, लात मारो, हिलेगा दीवार? नहीं. 200 ml नीट पियो. जिधर खड़ा है उधर ही खड़ा रहो, सारा दीवार घर सब हिलने लगेगा अपने आप. Oh my, I'm telling you, these guys can be coming and talking to me like this sometimes. I'm like wondering, how could you say that? But in that equation, there's an x. And that x is a variable. You can do a lot about that variable. The more we shift our attention from pi's to x's, the mind becomes empowered, peaceful, composed, satisfied. There are some pies that need clinical treatment, 100%, like my phone. A lot of other pies can be done with some assurance, with a handkerchief, with safe spaces to talk about and just handle that space. Last thing, as I promised, can I have a glass? Is there a glass? Can you give me that glass from there? Is there a glass there? पानी पीने का ग्लास नहीं है, बॉटल नहीं चाहिए, ग्लास चाहिए. हाँ हाँ, क्या भाई ग्लास ढूंढने में इतना. What's your name? Venkat. Vagunara? Okay. That's the only Telugu I know, by the way. And I know something of the Chestunanu, something they keep saying. That's how much I know. Oh God. You know what? Guys, look at this. बोले गुरुजी खाली टाइम में क्या करते हैं? सुट्टा के वीड. Sorry guys. Look at this. Each one of us has this in us. To be happy, to be productive, to grow, dreams, aspirations, ambitions, potential, to lead an amazing life. Each one of us has it in us. Oh gosh. Life doesn't allow. Wanted to stand first, stood second. The girl whom you loved so much married somebody else. The girl whom you got married to, trying to love, she says love someone else. Symposium, I didn't expect that. Got married, don't have a child. 9 years and no child. Both desperate to get a child, a baby. Went to Dubai to an IVF specialist. He decided to make sure that we somehow or the other get a child. We even decided what gender we wanted. Dubai was all right with the gender thing. We decided. He said, okay, give us a treatment. Wife is conceived. What a happy day. 9 years of struggle. Finally. Hope blooming. Good times ahead. Hashtag good time alert. 3 months down, miscarriage. Devastated. Shattered. First very child. Talk of strong minds. Talk of strong minds, guys. You know what life does to you? Shit. Shit. Shit is what life is pouring in the cup of our lives. Business, well, trying, growing, not where it's meant to be. We could do 100 times better. Well, children don't want to be in our business. He wants to be a YouTube influencer. I'm funding it. Suddenly realized spouse has cancer. 2 months left. Shattered. तुझसे नाराज नहीं जिंदगी, हैरान हूँ मैं, हैरान हूँ मैं, तेरे मासूम सवालों से परेशान हूँ मैं, परेशान हूँ मैं. Guys, I don't know what's going on in your life at the moment, but life is pouring. In her own way, she is. It is. He is. Whatever her or his pronoun is. I don't know what the pronoun for life is. They haven't put it up on their social media. Life doesn't have a social media handle saying he, him, she, her. So I don't know what it is. Call it whatever you like. Fluid. Fluid gender. Bhai Saab. Happening to all of us all the time. disappointed, depressed, lost. And today, from this forum, as I go back to my lonely place, I want to appeal to all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, don't fight your battles alone. Strong families create strong minds because we have each other. Sometimes that families could be parents, siblings, grandparents. It's wonderful if we find them in our own homes. Sometimes there are people who don't find them in their own homes. Sadly for them. That doesn't mean you can't have a strong family. That doesn't mean you can't look for a family that you can connect to you. Someone who's your support, someone who has your back. And in extreme cases, when nothing helps, make sure you need to fix your phone by going to the right source. Until then, when it's not so bad, when it's just a scratch on your okay, we'll do without it, it's okay. Hi. नहीं आ रहा है ना खुद अकेला, क्यों चाहिए अकेला? कोई और होगा साथ में, मेरे डैड जैसा, आ जाएगा ना सब वापस. खुद नहीं आएगा. Won't come by itself, right? But somebody can bring it back for me. Strong families create strong minds, not because problems are not there, because somebody has my back to bring it back. और इसीलिए मैं कहता हूं, छोटे से दिल में गम बहुत है, छोटे से दिल में गम बहुत है, जिंदगी ने दिए जख्म बहुत है, कब की मार डालती है जालिम दुनिया हमें, कमबख्त इन दोस्तों और फैमिलीज की दुआओं में दम बहुत है. Right. You know? That is how we create strong families, strong minds. I'm very sorry to go about 18 to 19 minutes over time, which is not me, but I got carried away. But thank you all very, very much and have a wonderful evening ahead. Thank you. I'll go there and sit somewhere. Salah?
He does deserve a standing ovation, ladies and gentlemen. Once more for Gaur Gopal ji. Thank you. Thank you so much. Awestruck, spellbound. And that I can see in your eyes too. So because it resonated so well with us, we thought as if sometimes he's speaking about our lives, isn't it? 4 hugs for survival, 8 hugs for maintenance, and 12 hugs for growth. This is what I feel. Love the way you have to. Take the love the way you want to. So that is how what Gaur Gopal Das ji said, that will make strong families and strong minds. So with this, ladies and gentlemen, we have heard him talk about life. Science helps us understand the mind. To deepen today's conversation, it is my privilege to invite one of India's most distinguished voices in psychiatry and mental health. Dr. Pratima Murthy is among the country's most recognized, respected mental health professionals. Her leadership, research, and contributions have helped shape mental health education, policy, and practice across India. This evening, she brings a perspective that is both evidence-based and deeply relevant to every family present in this room. Dr. Murthy, may I request you to kindly join Gaur Gopal Das ji on the stage. Let's hear from 2 stalwarts, 2 people who are different but yet same.
So good evening, everyone. This is going to be a conversation. Before we begin the conversation, I wanted to say you had a very good appetizer. The main course was astounding, and you'll all agree with me on that. So I don't know if you have space for dessert, but I think we should try a little bit of this for dessert. I think this is a great forum today, And I think we're discussing a fantastic topic. And I think every one of us here is in some ways a participant of this, an active participant, either as a family member or as a person in the audience. I just got reminded of one particular saying that it takes a village to raise a child. And I understand in 2016, Hillary Clinton actually wrote a book on this, saying, with the same topic, although this particular phrase comes from an ancient African tribe. But the fact is that we need a whole community. And when we say community, we mean parents, we mean grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends, counselors, all of these people in the community. So what seems to be happening is that the community appears to be shrinking. The community has now shrunk from that larger set of people to perhaps the immediate family. You mentioned joint families. We've now become much smaller nuclear families. And even within those nuclear families sometimes, because parents are working, there's hardly anyone doing those functions of the community or the village. And of course, the fact that families are like you said, family is a space, is a safe space. There's unconditional support that families provide. Families provide that core sense of how you develop a sense of self, your values. Your children are constantly watching you and seeing what you do. So they also learn by not just listening to what you're saying, but by watching you and what you're doing. So given all of these, this appears to be a huge responsibility on the family. And as you mentioned, I think your last scene kind of set it off, very often parents can feel very lonely. Lonely, isolated, not understanding what's happening with their youngsters. In such a case, what in your mind, and I want you to start the conversation, and I'm going to kind of chip in a little later. What is it that families can do to kind of empower themselves, to be in that position of being able to provide some of these kind of frameworks or boundaries to make sure that their youngsters feel a safe space, they feel that they've been spoken to and understood. What do you think of it?
Wow, thank you. It was a loaded question, isn't it? But thank you very much, Dr. Murthy, for that, bringing that up, that we need a community to bring up a child, an entire village. And it's not just parents, but siblings, counselors, teachers, right, friends. It's a community that's responsible for the growth, overall growth of a child. And as communities are shrinking, joint families turning into nuclear families, what to speak of nuclear families, many single parents these days, right, just trying to raise a child. Not all that easy to give community support. So how do parents navigate through that? How do we make sure that we're not kind of isolated and try and bring in the best that we can give? I was at an IB school recently and I was giving a talk. And after the talk, I met the dean of the school. And the dean said, we need a school for parenting. We need a school for parenting. Because the dynamics of parenting have changed a lot. In every space, we have upgraded and updated the curriculum and the syllabus. We were a state board, we went to ICSEs, we went to IB curriculums. We've updated our curriculums. And there's training, systematic training in that space. Teachers are tutored and they are the ones who are training the kids. When it comes to parents and parenting and creating that community support, why are we assuming that we'll learn it just by ourselves? If we think that we're going to learn it by ourselves, we'll always feel lonely and isolated because there's no training. There was a 4-year-old girl in kindergarten and the teacher asked the 4-year-old, how old are you? She said, 4. He said, how old is your mom? She said, 4. How old is your dad? Said, 4. Said, if you were 4, how are your mom and dad 4? Said, I'm their first child. So if I'm their first child, their mom and dad also for 4 years only. Their mom and dad for the very first time. So if a child is growing, the mom and dad are growing too. They've never been mom and dad in their previous lives, but the previous years before, this is the first time they're mom and dad. Now, as much as their mom and dad can pass on their experience, times have changed. Generations have changed. Needs have changed. In a world today, a boy was asking his mom, when was I downloaded? Thank God he didn't ask, when was I uploaded? I'm sorry about that. My apologies. So in a world which is so different, why are we expecting parents to learn it all by themselves? And it's like then making so many mistakes.
DIY. Do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
You can't do
How
it
can you
yourself.
do it yourself? You don't know how to do it yourself. And by the time you learn to do it yourself, the relationship is so bitter and sour and spoiled that now even if you do learn, what are you going to do to salvage that relationship?
Yeah, so I think what you're talking about is what are people seeing? If they see faulty communications happening, what will they learn but faulty communications?
Absolutely.
You know, I got reminded of something that apparently was very popular. Was very popular in Kerala, and this was called pillow talk. That even if the mother and father did not have time to talk to each other because of their busy schedules, they would be at night when they were together, that they would actually share what happened during the day at that time. Now, do we have the time to share with each other? Because either we're working, or when we're not working, we're looking at those 3 scratches that you were talking about. By the way, to get that phone, I might take up your vacation.
We can collaborate, Mom. We're in the same space. Science and spirituality, we can collaborate.
We should do that. So talking about, and you mentioned, being heard. What are some of the communication skills? I mean, you demonstrated those communication skills brilliantly during your talk. What are the communication skills that we need to learn to be able for the child or the adolescent to feel heard? And these, again, are constant, things that really don't change over time.
Yeah,
what might some of those things
No,
be?
absolutely. I completely agree. Number one is sometimes we just need to be patient and listen, not listen to reply. As somebody is talking to us, half the time we are preparing our reply in our heads. We are preparing our solutions in our head. I remember my father passed away in the year 2009, madam. My mom came to see me. And I was sitting in my office in our ashram, and my mom came and was sitting across the table. Sadly, I should have sat beside her. What a terrible thing to do when your dad is gone. She's lost her husband. And I should have sat beside her, putting my arm around her. And I was sitting across. But that's the official setup. So not that I intended to, we were just sitting. And then she started. She's crying for a bit, and then she started talking about her problems, and she went on and 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 on for 20 minutes. And in the first 2.5 minutes, I got what the problem was. First 2.5 minutes of her saying what she wanted to say, I got and she was just going in, beating around the bush and just talking out the same thing in different ways. And after 20 minutes, I lost my patience and I said, look, Mom, this is what you need to do and it'll be sorted. And she started crying. And I had no clue what had I done that she started crying. I just told her that this is what you need to do and things will be sorted. And she left for home. And I came back to my room and I was thinking, she didn't want a solution. She just wanted to be heard. She'd lost something very dear to her. And that's what we've lost, just listening, to listen, not to give a solution or a reply. I called her, I apologized. And then I thought to myself, I need to have answers to these 5 questions before I even open my mouth. And every single time somebody talks to me or shares something with me, I ask myself these 5 questions. Number 1, am I the right person to say this? You can correct your wife, not somebody else's wife. You can correct your own child, not somebody else's child.
That might be a very risky thing to do.
Absolutely.
It might be easier to correct somebody else's wife than your own.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that song? If you want love brimming in the marriage cup, when you're wrong, admit it. When you're right, shut up.
there's only one best child in the world, madam. And every mother thinks she has it.
Absolutely.
And there's only one best wife in the world. And every man thinks the neighbors has it. Sorry about that. But am I the right person to speak? Sometimes we give advice when it's unsolicited. I'm not the right person. So if I'm the right person to speak, the question number 2 that I should ask myself is, do I have the right intention? A lot of times the intention is to say, to show, to bring up old things and settle it all now through this. Open your mouth if you're the right person. Open your mouth if you have the right intention. Number 3, is it the right timing? No matter what you're saying, if the timing is wrong,
Foot in the mouth.
foot in the mouth. If the timing is wrong, the right thing you're saying is wrong. Number 4, is it the right place? I know families, parents, saying things to their kids, to their partners in a public space. Come on, hang on, you can't be saying this. It's not the right place to say it or to talk now. And number 5, very important, do you know the right way? It's not as much what you're saying as how you're saying it. When the head is hot, the tongue starts working faster than the mind. We don't process. We say it, only to realize later how I shouldn't have said it. So to me now, anybody says something, communication is about these 5 things. I'll ask myself these questions. Am I the right person? Yes, I'll say it. I'll ask myself the second question. Do I have the right intention? Not to settle old account, but to actually help? I'll say it. Number 3, I'll check whether it's the right time to say it. 4, is it the right place to say it? And most important of all, do I know the right way to say it? And you know what, ma'am? Sometimes, even if all of these are true, seeing that person's condition, I stay quiet.
Sometimes silence is very powerful.
Ma'am, silence speaks 1,000 words sometimes.
Yeah. Just being around a person, feeling listened to.
Absolutely.
I think can really,
100%.
make wonders. There's also the important, I think you raise a very important point in terms of how do we listen? Just listening with all our attention, even if it's for a small amount of time, to a child who comes to us. Gaining the full time, the attention span of that child. Making non-verbal communication. I think that is, you talked about touch as an important aspect of communication. Absolutely. Assurance,
Absolutely.
Support. I think a lot of that, even just showing that you're listening by not constantly looking at your watch or looking at your phone. They're such distractors. So I think these can be, the art of communication has to be learned in some ways. Absolutely. And we constantly really need to relearn and practice that art of communicating with each other. And I think that communication sorts out a lot of the misunderstandings that might creep into communication.
Absolutely.
Very often.
Absolutely. What you're saying is so important, ma'am, because you said, not on the phone, because as soon as I'm on the phone, I'm giving a signal to the other person what you're saying is not important to me. Just by picking up the phone when my son or my daughter or my partner's talking to me, I'm saying, look, what you're saying doesn't matter. What you're saying is not as important to me. And so many misunderstandings, you rightly said, can be sorted. Mr. Malpani was saying it has to be both ways, right, when I was saying something. And there was this little boy called Arnav, ma'am, in school, about 6 years old. And the teacher asked Arnav, if I give you 2 and 2 mangoes, how many would you have? Arnav said, 5. The teacher said, Arnav, if I give you 2 and 2 strawberries, how many would you have? He said, 4. So Arnav, if I give you 2 and 2 apples, how many would you have? He said, 4. She got back to her original question. Arnav, if I give you 2 and 2 mangoes, how many would you have? He said, 5. If 2 and 2 strawberries are 4, 2 and 2 apples are 4, how are 2 and 2 mangoes 5? Arnav reached out into his bag and said, I already have 1 mango in my bag, madam. Right? So 2 and 2 is 4, but 1 in the mango, 1 in the bag makes it 5. Now, a lot of times in our relationships, parents and kids, partners, colleagues, teammates, both are right. Was the teacher wrong? No, because 2 and 2 is 4. She can't see the mango in the bag. Was Arnav wrong? No, because 2 plus 2 is 4, but 1 added to it makes it 5. Now, this is a classic conflict between technical rightness and practical rightness. Technically, the teacher is right because 2 and 2 is 4. Practically, Arnav is right because 4 and 1 mango makes it 5. Now,
yeah, and that's possibly what happens intergenerationally, isn't it?
I was going to say that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
That's exactly what happens in generations, right? There's a hidden mango. And if we do not see the hidden mango, you're addressing the what, not the why.
Absolutely.
You know that my child is not behaving right. That's correct. 2 plus 2 is 5 is wrong. But why? The hidden mango. My husband is cheating on me. You're right, he's cheating on you. But why? The hidden mango. Did you see why? We are addressing what? We're not addressing why. We're only going on the surface. What about the mango that's hidden in the bag that's causing that answer, right? And like you said, generationally, if you put a 9 here, ma'am, on one side you stand and the other side you stand, I see a 9, you see a 6. Generational conflict is nothing but two perspectives of looking at the same digit. Now, if our parents, Gen X, millennial parents, were to come to Gen Z kids' side and see that how do they see the world today? Do you know what it means for a Gen Z kid to go in a party and drink a virgin mojito? Do you know what it means? Do you know how you'll be called out on that? Do you know what it means to be a social fit there today? You can judge their choices, you can call out, you can talk. But have you seen the world from their lens of what are they called when they go there? Now, Gen Z also needs to go on the other side and see how their parents see the world as a 6. What they're trying and what they're trying to say is coming from the space of concerned love. This is how they saw the world.
So another characteristic that you're highlighting is mutual empathy.
Absolutely.
So I think that empathy is a two-way street.
Absolutely.
It's not just enough for parents and the older generation to be empathetic to the younger generation, but for the younger generation to also learn that empathy, and that empathy and understanding can, clear up a whole lot of these misunderstandings that we're talking about. So one of the other problems that that also happen is particularly as people kind of grow up in different stages of their lives. There's a very nice rule of 7 that for the first 7 years that a lot of children need a lot of fostering, nurturing, unconditional love. The next 7 years they need to learn how to make rules, how to set boundaries, etc. Subsequently, that needs to be strengthened into critical thinking and life skill development. And finally, when they become young adults or, in their late teens, that you have to be friends with them. Now, how do you think, if this doesn't happen, and in fact, I was actually reading that even in some of the Puranas, that it says that at different stages of life, you have to look after children in the same similar manner. Do you want to throw some light on it? Because I think it's very nice how, you made this point that things are constant, although the form of things can change. Right. Certain issues are constant, and some of these approaches to looking after children and bringing them up seem to be constant across time and across space. Correct. So do you want to just throw some light on that?
No, absolutely. And I think, thank you for bringing that up, the rule of 7. And it was Chanakya Pandit who wrote about this as well, about the rule of 7. Till a certain age, you be a friend, then you be a mentor, then you guide them critically. Now, how does one do that, right? And it's particularly in the day and age today. When the child's intellectual faculties are not very developed yet, the only language that the child understands is love. There's no other language the child understands. Cuddling, being given what the child wants, of course with some no's, but most yeses then. When the child is very young, it needs a lot of yeses then. Because the intellectual faculty is not yet so developed to be able to say, why am I being told no? No matter what explanation you give to the child doesn't understand. So which is exactly why till that point in time, the investment is all about tremendous amount of affection. Huge affection, the emotional bank account that we were talking about. Huge affection. My dad, I was second grade is what? 7, 8 years old, I'm guessing. A slap. He did it. That's how they did it then. I'm definitely not encouraging something like that. And then, next day, a gift. Right? Now, so you have that in the beginning. As the intellectual faculties of the child develop, if I continue the investment approach only in yeses, I create a Duryodhan. I create an entitled, what's the word? Whatever. Entitled guy there who can't take no as an answer. Sadly, in the world there are no consolation prizes, madam. You have to win your bread, and you have to win your cup, and you have to win your rank, and you have to win your job, and you have to win your partner. There's nobody who's going to think of saying a yes to you. You guys, you go and propose to a girl, the girl says, get out. But you've never taken no as an answer. You go for a job interview and you're not selected. You've never taken no as an answer. So when the intellectual faculties of the child develop, it's very important that now we also bring in a sense of discipline when there is no's, where we train them to process failures. We train them to process a no as an answer. We train them to grow with resistance. And as they grow further, as they grow into adulthood, the principle is, ma'am, give them the wings to fly in the sky, uninterrupted. Even if you know that there are going to be predatory birds out there to pounce on them, if you're going to be by their side all the time, hand-holding, they will never learn how to fly on their own. Their intellectual faculties have developed for them to now take that stride and fly on their own. Many parents today, grown-ups, don't give that full control. Even when their children are 50 years old of the business, they're not handing it over fully. How long are you going to sit there in control? Allow them to fly now, right? Yeah. But while they fly, do not forget that we need to make sure that they know that there is a nest on the tree where they can come back to.
Safety nets.
Safety nest.
That's very important. The last point that I wanted to make, and I think we're running out of time, is it?
We have the audience waiting to ask you questions.
So the last point that we'll stop on is what you said. I mean, is about stress. And, you know, there's enough science which tells you that if you don't have stress, you don't perform well. So you need what is called that level of stress, or, you know, healthy level of stress. And too much stress or too little stress can actually be monotonous. And that also ties in with your point that you made when you didn't get that first rank in the state. So it's, the other thing, of course, is competitiveness. So how healthy, you know, and very often parents are constantly comparing each other's children and how well the neighbor's child is doing, etc. So I think that's another area where children can be very diminished if they're constantly compared to somebody else. But it's much better to compare them to their earlier self and their improvements, as you illustrated. So maybe we can, you know, we take that conversation and then on that note, take it to the audience.
How many of you have compared yourself with others ever? Okay. Others are angels, looks like, who've never looked at anybody ever. When two couples in India meet, ladies are looking at each other's jewelry, and the men are looking at each other's wives. Sorry, guys. But imagine this. There was a college-going boy who failed his exams and came back home, and his father was telling him, all subjects failed. Father was saying, देख तेरे क्लास में वो मेरी पढ़ती है, देख idiot उसको, देख वो फर्स्ट आई है, देख और तू फेल हो गया, कैसे फेल हो गया? बोला उसको देख के ही फेल हो गया, आप कब से बोल रहे देख. Right. Now, I must tell you, ma'am, we all grew up with a virus installed in our heads. देख वो कितना अच्छा पढ़ता है, तू नहीं पढ़ता है. देख उसके कितने अच्छे नंबर आए, तेरे नहीं आए. देख तेरा भाई कितना वेल बिहेव्ड है, तू नहीं है. वाइफ को देख वो कितना अच्छा बनाती है, तू नहीं करती. हस्बैंड को देख वो ये करते हैं उसके लिए, आप नहीं करते. There was a virus installed in our head. दूसरों के पास देखते देखते भूल गए कि खुद के पास भी देखना है. And I'm not at all demeaning or speaking in a condescending tone about how we were taught then. That's how much they knew. They did it out of their concern and love. Fine. That we know better, we should do better, right? So why look at others? Why not look at our own? Albert Einstein, he said, if you put a fish, a rabbit, an elephant, and a monkey all in a line and judge all of them for their ability to climb a tree, the fish will commit suicide thinking it's useless. We are comparing everybody with the same measuring stick, with the same yardstick, although everybody is born different, with a different skill set, with a different mindset, with a different ability, with a different talent.
I'm just going to conclude on that note by saying, and that's the objection I had to saying, healthy minds, because it implies, strong minds, it implies weak minds. And I think it's very, very important to simply understand that each of us comes with our different strengths and with our different vulnerabilities, and we need to be respected for that and supported for that.
100%,
Yeah.
ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We can go on and on listening to both of you, but then we have a time limit and we have the audience waiting to hear you yet again from their point of view. So, ladies and gentlemen, please go ahead, ask your questions. Please keep it brief. And it could be a simple question. Doesn't matter. It might be the other person also thinking about that. So, please go ahead.
नेहमीप्रमाणे खूप छान. As always, very good. Fantastic views on strong families. I've been an avid listener, and in some other forums you have also mentioned that you didn't talk to your father for 2 years.
Oh, yes.
And I just want you to take your views now. Now you set the context very well. What can we learn from that, and for others avoid that? So, thank you.
Oh my God, you brought up a story that's like my weak point, and I am only hoping I don't end up being emotional again. I will try my best, and I won't.
If you want to not answer, I have another question.
I am telling myself, self-talk, no emotional here, no emotion. But here's what happened. My dad's such a lovely man. A generation, I have a certain generation, and we had a conflict over a certain issue. Now we're going to have conflicts because he sees a 9, I see a 6. And if we're not going to go to each other's sides to see how we see that number or that digit, we're going to have a conflict. My father was a chain smoker. He smoked 64 cigarettes a day, ma'am. That was a bloody lot. And me and my mom, we were doing all what was possible within our capacity to try and dissuade him from smoking. And that wasn't such a bad thing, obviously. He did go off smoking for a bit, and then got back on again. And there were a couple of other things that happened between me and him. This was one of our main points of contention, that you're ruining everybody else's health and your health too. And then a couple of other things. And at that point in time, you can sit down, sir. You don't have to stand. So, my God, sorry, I wasn't looking at you.
Thank you.
So then at that point in time, I stopped talking to my dad. I mean, we were like, not looking at each other's. He was, I wasn't. He was, I wasn't. I kept my stance. 2 years of no talking. My dad kept trying again and again and again. And I'm not sure if somebody's habit should become such a massive barrier in every relationship. I know it wasn't the best thing for him to do that. But I also know that that wasn't the best way I would have done it to him. Right? Nevertheless, what happened. 2 years later, my dad comes to me. He fell down on my feet. You don't have fathers putting their heads on your feet. My father put his head on my feet, crying tears. Talk to me, son. And then my mom, she was like, you can't do this to your father. Although she was on my side, that we don't want him to smoke and we want him to be a healthy life. And because my mom said, I started talking to him. Just because of my mom.
I loved my dad, he loved me, but that patch, 2 years patch, was a very distant patch in my life. And just about as we started talking, ma'am, in 2 weeks' time, I left home to become a monk. And in the initial years of my monkhood, I would only go to see them like once in a year for like a couple of hours, maybe 2-3 hours, and not more than that. I wouldn't spend time with them more than that. You know, that young zeal of a monk, high spirit zealot. So then, every year I went, of course I started talking to my dad. I thought I'm going to say sorry to my dad. And for some reason, there's this 3-lettered word which convinces you that you were right. And you don't have to say a sorry. That 3-lettered word is called ego. And I'm a monk, mind you, already now. Studying the Gita, studying spirituality, practicing chanting, meditation, and so many different spiritual practices. Yet, people who are the closest to you happen to be your punchbags. Sadly for us. In front of the world, I was always putting my best foot. Never would have said anything like this to anybody now then. Even when I was visiting my family, wherever everybody saw me as like that humble, sensitive, encouraging, appreciative individual to whoever I met. Except that one man, to whom I was now appreciative, but never said a sorry. In the year 2009, I was doing my annual London tour, lecturing tour, and as I was leaving, my mom called me up, like 3 days before I flew to London, saying, Dad is not in a very good situation. Do you mind coming and seeing him? So I went to see my dad. He was bedridden. I tried to encourage my dad. Very handsome, both my dad and mom. Not at that stage, obviously. They were much older then. But some of their younger pictures were like, oh my goodness me, they looked like dapper, really. You know, and I told my dad, calling him something like Rajesh Khanna, and my mom like Asha Parekh or something. I was making some good, nice talk to both of them. And then for the very first time, my dad held my hand and said, when you joined the ashram, I was a bit kind of upset and I didn't really kind of like it. Only son, right? But I'm glad that you're doing really well, and I hear that you speak so much in London. Do you mind getting me all your lectures from your London tour so I can listen to them? I went to London, a very successful 1-month tour. Over 350 lectures I gave in that 1 month. Like several lectures a day, right? And then I got back, remembering my dad had asked for them. I put them all in a pen drive to give them to him. I was about to go in like a week's time after I returned. And one morning, 1:30 in the morning, my phone was not on the flight safe mode that time. My phone rang and I got up at 1:30 in the morning. And was my mom on the other side. And I knew for sure, Mom doesn't call me like that. It's 1:30 in the morning. Why is she calling me at this time? I picked up the phone. She was crying on the other end. Dad was gone. Right. I called my driver, and where my mom lives, where my family home, it's about 3 hours drive from where I live in the ashram. So we drove for my father's funeral. My father's body was there, and at home, when I reached there, and I put my head at my dad's feet, and I said, I'm sorry, Dad. I shouldn't have done this to you. It's not about right and wrong. Yes, there are rights and wrongs. We are right, they're wrong. They are right, we are wrong. Life is like that. Relationships are valuable. I said a sorry, but I never got to say a sorry to him in person. That pen drive, which I'd taken, brought that pen drive with me, and I opened my father's fist before we took him to the funeral home. I put that pen drive in his fist, which remained in his fist. It was raining cats and dogs, so we couldn't do the standard regular funeral, so we had to go for electric incineration because the rains were so heavy that wood wouldn't catch fire. And the pen drive, the guy who was, when the body was in the man was saying, he checked his hands for rings and all of that, and he saw this pen drive, he said, "Ye nahi ja sakta." I bola, "Sir, please, isko rehne dijiye. Ye kuch nahi hone wala hai. It's not going to go with him wherever. It's just, but it has a certain value of a sentiment, of a regret, of an apology." And that remained in his palm. And the body was burnt in the electric incinerator. What I want to share with all of you, ladies and gentlemen, today is life is short. 20-year-olds are dying today. 21-year-olds are dying of heart attacks these days. Right. Life is short, guys. Too short to hold those rights and wrongs. Yes, we can say things. Yes, we can express our disappointments. Yes, we can fight a bit. झगड़ लो ना, थोड़ा बोल दो ना भाई, लेकिन ये बंद मत कर देना बोलना फिर से. कुछ कह गए, कुछ सह गए, कुछ कहते कहते रह गए. कुछ कह गए, कुछ सह गए, कुछ कहते कहते रह गए. न जाने मैं सही और तुम गलत के चक्कर में कितने रिश्ते बह गए. Right? You know, I am right and you are wrong. And when I say you're sorry, that doesn't mean I was wrong. It just means I value you more than being right. It's not about me being right, but I value you more than me. So that was the story, sir.
I think there are two messages there. One is about building bridges as quickly as possible. But the second thing to me, my expertise is in tobacco cessation. Right. And we now know that tobacco addiction is a disorder which can treated. Right. And you know, there's so much help available now for people to quit tobacco. Absolutely. And that's a message I think the audience also needs 100%. To get. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And we have a whole lot of questions. So if you could quickly
take
answer.
one more maybe.
Yes.
One quick. Yes.
Okay.
All right. So we finished with
go for the felicitation.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, very quick. Hi, I'm Pooja, and there is a question, or rather an observation. You mentioned that there's a fish, there is, you know, everybody comes with their skills, fish, elephant. That was one thing you mentioned. And you said everybody comes with their own skill set. Yes? Then you also mentioned quite a few times that you failed.
Sorry,
You also mentioned that you failed.
I failed.
And you asked us multiple times how many people failed. And each time, I put up my hand very proudly up because I have failed. That's what I thought. But I do come with my own skill set.
Absolutely.
And in my case, and a lot of others, I think the education system failed.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Yes.
It needs a massive change.
Yes. So this is an opportunity I'm taking because I want somebody to think about it. Then why are we giving the same exam sheet to everybody?
Absolutely.
That's what I would like to just sensitize everybody about.
I think exam sheets can be fine. Everybody needs to learn everything.
Thank you.
But judgmentalism based on that is not fine. This morning at the lounge when I was flying here, there was a man who came up to me and said, "My child is autistic." He was crying. And he was saying, "Any advice for me? We're trying whatever we can, but I don't know if there's any advice as a parent, what can I do for my autistic child?" I said, "Well, do your best, but do connect to communities where there are autistic kids and families who know how to deal with it. I don't have the experience, so I can only give you principles, but they can share their experience with you." And then that man, madam, I was stunned. I hope I should have taken that video from him. He showed me a video of his 3-year-old child, autistic child. Can't speak yet. You know what the child was doing? The mother was giving him complicated mathematical problems.
And the child was solving and writing answers. Square root of 284. And the child wrote the right answer. The child was answering derivatives and integration questions. Now, where it came from? There's something in him. Now, if I judge him by how he's autistic and he can't learn, but there's something that he's blessed with, what if we build upon that and make him stronger? So, it's just in line with what you were saying.
The only thing that I wanted to add to that are those 3 scratches that you mentioned on the phone. So I think it's also very important in the whole conversation not to miss the fact that people can have significant and serious mental health conditions where professional help is very, very important. And I think making that, the ability to discern what can be managed by ourselves and our families and what needs to take professional help is very, very important.
Thank you so much. Now we'll come to the formal part of the evening. We would like to felicitate our guests here. So for that, may I request Mr. Giri Alpani, Chairman, Founder, Symposium, to kindly come up on the stage, please. As a token of our gratitude for sharing his wisdom, inspiration and insights with us this evening, may I now request Mr. Vimal Jain to please come on to the stage. Our sponsors. I would also request Mr. Sunil Saraf to kindly come onto the stage. May I now request Mr. Naveen Mittal, Special Chief Secretary Energy, Government of Telangana, to kindly come onto the stage.
Check.
Sir, could you kindly felicitate Dr. Pratima? Sir. At this juncture, we would also like to present the white paper to Shri Naveen Mittal. This is based on our event of the last, for 17 July, that is the climate event.
There is a lot of hard work which has gone in preparing this white paper. Through your good offices, if you can spread this word. I would take this one opportunity, I don't want to miss this platform. Dasji, I'll take this opportunity to just share this experience. In my lifetime, I've come across at least 10 of my friends who actually shared with me that I never hugged my father till he was alive. So that goes to say that it's happening in a lot of families. And on this platform, I don't say that go today and hug your dad. Hug him every day.
We also have a very special person with us Like in the spirit of symposium, we have Dr. Beena Chintalapuri with us here, and it is my privilege to introduce her, a distinguished academic researcher, trainer, and Ashoka Fellow, who has dedicated over 4 decades to the transformative power of psychology. Her work span higher education, counseling, research, behavioral science, prison reforms, and community outreach. She has held several leadership positions at Osmania University and other institutions. She's also the author and co-author of 9 foundational books. One of her most impactful initiatives is Unnati, a pioneering cognitive behavior intervention for prison inmates that has touched thousands of lives and highlighted the importance of rehabilitation, resilience, and second chances. Her work is deeply rooted in peace education, grounded in dignity, empathy, hope, and empowerment. Dr. Beena, we are honored by your presence this evening. And for all of you here, I would also like to tell you, she's brought with her Vaibhav. He is a living proof of what determination, opportunity, and the right mentor can achieve. Vaibhav is currently pursuing law at Osmania University, admitted purely on merit, and serves as a research assistant to the reform programs Ertiga and Unnati. While serving his sentence as Tihar Jail, he was selected as training facilitator for Prisoners Reformation Program and rose to become a master trainer for Unnati under Dr. Beena's leadership as project director. After his release, he chose to continue that journey, relocating from Delhi to Hyderabad to work with Ertiga, a program supported by Honorable Governor of Telangana, helping others overcome addiction. From prison to pursuing law on merit, Vaibhav is a testament to willpower, opportunity, and the power of right mentorship. Dr. Beena, Vaibhav may well be the finest living proof of the difference your work makes. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Beena. And for felicitating her, may I please request Mr. Rajkumar Malpani to come onto the stage. And for all our new members, he's the father of our chairman, Mr. Girish Malpani. And from our side, Symposium, we acknowledge Dr. Beena's contribution, and for that, we present her a check of ₹1,00,000. And ladies and gentlemen, can we have a quick group photograph? May I request our trustees, founders, and Shri Naveen Mittal to please come onto the stage.
I request all the sponsors, Vimal, Kishan, Sunil Bhai.
At Symposium, we have always believed that meaningful dialogue has the power to shape society. Yet some conversations are more than intellectual and they touch our hearts. Tonight was one such conversation. Life inevitably presents challenges, and during those times, it is often not our achievements or possessions that sustain us. It is the people who stand beside us without conditions, who celebrate our victories and help us endure our struggles, our family and our friends like family. That is why the conversation like today mattered so profoundly. We are deeply grateful to our distinguished speakers, Shri Gaur Gopal ji and Dr. Pratima Murthy, for sharing not just their expertise, but their wisdom and lived experience. This event is proudly presented by Shalimar Roller Flour Mill, our title sponsor of today's event, Healthy Flour, Stronger Families. A special mention to Mr. Vimal Jain, a true friend, whose support to Girish and myself goes far beyond sponsorship. He believes in Symposium because he believes in us. Thank you is a very small word for him. We express Gratitude to Vamshiram, our institutional patron, for giving support to Symposium as long-term institutional builder. We are grateful to Ms. Swati of ACE Foundation, of course, Mrs. Anil Chalasamati, Greenco, our knowledge partner for this session, and again a friend who came forward showing belief in our vision at Symposium and joining us in advancing this important conversation. MPM, our founding patron, because of whose Symposium stands here. The message for today: history is being rewritten at Banjara Hills. Find out more. We warmly acknowledge Radha TMT, Mr. Sunil Saraf, and Suman Saraf. They are also two brothers. Lohia Group, Mahavir Lohia and Mr. Kishan Lohia, who's here with us today. Again, two brothers who supported us even before the first event was executed. They helped us build the platform we continue to nurture today. We also extend our sincere thanks to our associate sponsors, Maverick, for nurturing the execution of these events by becoming a supporter. A special acknowledgement to IIT Hyderabad, our knowledge partner for previous session, who contributed to the development of our white paper. My heartfelt thank goes to the foundation of Symposium, our trustees, advisors, members, partners and well-wishers whose faith in Symposium continues to inspire us to create spaces for meaningful dialogue. A very special word of appreciation to our Symposium team led by our CEO, Asha, supported by Sangeeta, Anushri, Prem, Sonu, and to every member working behind the scenes, including my drivers, Sajjad, Chakra, and they know who they are all here around me. Events like these are results of countless hours of dedication and a shared commitment to excellence. Thank you for making this event possible. It is a big round of applause to all of them who are here. And finally, to each one of you present here today, thank you. If tonight inspires even a few of us to spend some more time with our parents, listen more carefully to our spouses, encourage our children a little more, and nurture the relationships that matter the most, then this evening has achieved something truly worthwhile. And perhaps in strengthening our families, we strengthen our communities, our society, and ultimately our nation. Thank you all for being a part of this very, very important conversation tonight. Have a wonderful night. Thank you for being here today. Let's all move out for dinner. Dinner has been served. Thank you, and we'll take a quick picture.
is unchallenging. The city was sculpted by its rulers. Now, it is being reimagined by visionaries in a world of relentless chatter. Where do the creators of tomorrow go? To listen beyond the board, beyond the This is not a club for the affluent. It is a sanctuary for the wise. Welcome to the discourse. Welcome to Symposium. Momentum is unchallenging. The city was sculpted by its rulers. Now, it is being reimagined by visionaries.